Okay. All right, here we are in a sprint takeover looking at the meta introduction article for James to see how we can, just a general critique, and the visual imagery here is what he's asking for. So let's just zoom in a little bit. We have more of a script layout. Let me bring my pen down. All right, there. Let's start the countdown timer. There we go. Background, cloudy. Scene, exterior, Tower of Babel, day. Background, cloudy skies with blue patches. Foreground, the Tower of Babel. It appears to be wider at the bottom than the top. We start at the bottom tower. It looks primitive and appears to represent a time period, the Stone Age. A few people sit around the campfire. They're wearing furs. The camera angle zooms in on the tower and appears to go up the tower. As so doing, the architectural style changes with each age. Scene 2. The Iron Age looks partially Roman. We hear and see marching Roman soldiers upon a Roman road, one level up. The Middle Ages looks very English, with I'd probably change that to its castle-type battlements. The sky turns dark as a storm is about to rage as we hear blacksmiths' anvils. Oh, here, blacksmiths. You need an apostrophe there. A blacksmith's anvil, and quench as we see the blacksmith quenching a sword. Okay, I'm not a swordsmith, but usually the quench comes after a heating process, not immediately after a banging on the anvil. So you can't hear banging on the anvil and then hear the sounds of a quench. They would bang the anvil, they'd put the sword back in to bring the temperature up high enough so that the quench would take more, because it's the drastic change of the quench. Okay. Before we pass all parts of the medieval period, we hear a rat squeak and see the storm rage. Fourth layer, Renaissance. The next is the Renaissance. We hear paintbrushes on canvas and ships creaking in the breeze. The clouds in the backgrounds have miraculously dissipated while the storm is over and there are some clouds, but are white and wispy. We see a typical trading port with period ships docked, wares being unloaded. Okay, so this is interesting. So we're still zooming up the tower, but there are ships being docked against it. On the fourth layer, there are ships. So, I mean, I guess I'm not, because we have a tower. We're zooming in. We're going up, and we see all of that. So maybe I'm a little confused with that. Interior, factory, midday. We hear and see industrial machines driven by steam repetitive piston sounds. It must be the industrial period. The camera pulls out to see this section of the tower, to see that this part of the tower is creating a large amount of pollution. This part of the tower looks Victorian. They are their own worlds. Okay. As we reach the next part, we hear rapid gunfire. As we hear this, a Spitfire comes from behind the tower, flies towards the camera, and fires, then flies out of shot as a viewer assumes humanity has reached the Second World War. As we reach the next part of the tower, as we reach the next part, the tower, next part, comma, put a comma there. The tower is now made out of concrete and looks like it would be now considered an eyesore. Here we hear a dot matrix printer and hear and see a rip off a page. Interior, server room, day. Next we see a server bank with its green lights flickering, and the Tower of Babel looks like it's made out of glass and steel. Interior house. We see a person typing on a CRT computer and order food. They hear a doorbell and get up. Interior house. Once they return with the pizza, the computer monitor has been replaced with a flat LCD flat screen. Next, our screen changes and the light dims as we see a biological virus resolves on the LCD screen. The camera pans right and out of the window. The scene looks glum as every generic person is wearing a mask. The sky is overcast, depressing look. It looks like the storm has returned. As the blue sky breaks through the clouds, we see people wearing more stylish clothing and no masks. It appears to be more in the future. The camera looks over someone's shoulder as we see a rocket take off on their smartphone. Cut scene to the rocket leaves Earth and the inky blackness. Oh, so it's not a game, it's a video of a rocket taking off. Okay. Uh, Space. Cut to the scene where rocket leaves the Earth into inky blackness. On a manned Mars colony, this looks impressive for a Mars base. Someone is reading an ebook which appears to be near the end and is historical in nature. Once they put the device down, they look pleased and proud. Yeah. See, this is okay. Um oh, okay. Um this was a really interesting visual. I really liked it. I wouldn't call these different things scenes, but how you they're more like shots than a scene, but it is just an interesting visual as it's going up. There's a cloud layer. Yeah, the conceit of the article is really fascinating as a panning camera is going through human history and please can yeah, it's just really interesting so far. Okay, continuing on. We cut back to the Tower of Babel. The top looks futuristic as it's almost hard to tell how far in the future the tip of the tower is. The camera holds the frame as if to ponder this. Once time has continued, we see the tower again. The section of the tower breaks and falls. The new top is back to the industrial age. Interesting. The camera appears to go above the tower and fly off at great speed. When it finally slows at a gentle pace, we see a city. Like the new top of the tower, Babel looks Victorian. The city is a circle. Some parts appear to have electrical street lights, although flickering in section of the city at 7 o'clock has a blackout. Populations seem to be coming out of the central ring of 5. The camera zooms in the city's 4 o'clock position. Seeing that we are now looking at zone 4 to the second to last zone. We're now at the level atop the building. We can see the people going about their business. There are market stalls of 3 columns. People walk between. We see some passing of money and goods. That's about it. No general mood of the crowd is apparent. Market stalls are selling food items such as bakery, canned goods, and bagged products. Lastly, the camera moves to eye level. The screen turns to black. Okay. No, no, no. This is okay. Um, what does the tower breaking mean to you in chat? Oh, I I like the breaking away because it's the top of the tower breaks and fall. It's as if there was, your great rewind that you're talking, that you're writing about. Um, I deserve that one, Daz the cat. I did deserve that. Yeah, it sounds like society broke. So instead of continually moving forward, it feels like society crumbled and had to rebuild. But yeah, the breaking of time and history. Uh, yeah, yeah. So I really like this. It's the times are out of joint. Sure, yeah, Sudan. That's a good feedback. I mean, everybody's reaction to how this appears is a valid reaction because it's your reaction based on your experiences, and it's just, did they line up with what the author intended, such as James. But yeah, um, so I like the visual. When I thought what started going into the article, I thought when you said scenes, there would be character, there would be conflict and stuff like that. But this is just a very visually cool thing that's happening here, and I don't know if the scene structure works for this. Oh yeah, you don't have to have narration. You could just, as you have it, you know I like the concept. Your visuals are good. It's good descriptions. I feel like I'm seeing what you're trying to describe. The structure of the acts and the scenes might be a little overwhelming because you still have um, this. You're only having one sentence per thing. Um, but it is true that every time a scene, the camera changes, is a change in scene. So yeah, well done, James. This is fun. This is a fun start. I'd like to see where it goes.